The two most dangerous vitamins for leg deterioration after age 60. Experiencing weakness, heaviness, or soreness in your legs might signal a serious concern. Notice that even prolonged standing, walking, or climbing stairs is becoming increasingly challenging. If this describes your situation, exercise extreme caution. What I'm about to reveal in this presentation might be something you'd never suspect and could help explain exactly why this is happening. Contributing to this issue are consuming certain dangerous foods, two vitamins surprisingly considered essential for wellness, and a mixture of two components draining strength from your legs. Indeed, vitamins that everyone claims benefit you might actually be weakening your muscles, stressing your joints, and making your legs unstable, painful, and vulnerable. The most frightening part is these dangers exist in your everyday life. Every gulp and every bite might be feeding the weakness you feel, but there's more. These two vitamins you might be consuming currently will truly shock you when, actually, you're accelerating muscle deterioration and compromising your legs. You probably buy them from the drugstore with good intentions, thinking you are protecting yourself, nurturing your body, and strengthening your bones. This presentation will expose the truth behind these supplements and foods. You'll understand what is really causing the fatigue, swelling, stiffness, and pain that keeps returning. Most crucially, you will learn what to eliminate and what to change moving forward to regain your strength, energy, and independence. If you want to preserve your leg power for years and age gracefully, then remain with me until the conclusion. Sweet treats and sugary confections have long been associated with comfort and pleasure. After age 60, however, this habit might become a silent threat to your leg wellness. Excessive refined sugar consumption triggers inflammatory responses throughout the body, especially in the muscles and joints. Chronic inflammation makes the legs more tender, painful, and susceptible to damage. Additionally, sugar is directly linked to increased insulin resistance, which depletes muscle energy. Muscle becomes weaker and less efficient when it lacks adequate energy. Excess sugar also contributes to weight gain, which places additional stress on your legs. Every extra pound demands more effort from your lower body muscles and joints. Additional weight increases deterioration, pain, and a sensation of weakness in the lower limbs. For seniors who naturally lose muscle mass with age, this is particularly worrying. Sugar also boosts the body's toxin production, which worsens inflammatory responses further. The greater the inflammation, the more challenging it becomes to keep your legs functional and strong. Were you aware that sugar directly affects blood circulation? When consumed excessively, it increases the risk of vascular problems, limiting blood flow to the lower extremities. Poor circulation means the leg muscles receive less oxygen and nutrients. This hinders tissue repair and slows muscle recovery. The pleasure of a dessert might be too costly for your health, beyond metabolic complications. Sweets lack essential nutrients for muscle health, such as proteins and magnesium. In other words, you're consuming empty calories that weaken the body rather than strengthening it. In advanced age, this type of imbalanced nutrition leads to muscle mass loss, one of the primary enemies of mobility. The cause might be as simple as a slice of cake or a piece of candy. If you think your legs are becoming weaker, what appears like an innocent treat might be undermining your independence and strength. Most commercially produced sweets also contain chemical additives like colorings and preservatives that worsen inflammation. These components disrupt the body's natural balance and directly affect the muscular system. When combined with sugar, they form a very harmful health combination. Already, a significant step is substituting these sweets with natural options, such as cinnamon on fruit or homemade desserts with reduced sugar. Certainly, you can still enjoy a dessert, just with smarter choices that respect your body. Your legs and your taste buds will thank you. Fried foods are difficult to resist, but the damage they inflict on the body after 60 cannot be ignored. Rich in trans and saturated fats, these foods elevate inflammatory markers in the body. This inflammation directly affects the muscles and joints, making the legs stiffer, more painful, and prone to injury. The fat in fried foods also impairs blood circulation, complicating muscle oxygenation. Poor circulation robs the body of its ability to heal and grow stronger. Fried foods also cause blood vessel obstruction, which is another concern. This further restricts the flow of essential nutrients to the leg muscles. Over time, this process weakens the body's support and accelerates joint deterioration. Among the main culprits are foods such as donuts, chicken nuggets, and French fries. Before we continue, I would like to know where you are with me today. Leave a comment below and don't hesitate to ask about anything. Remember to hit the subscribe button and enable notifications to always receive the best health guidance from Senior Health. If you're watching now, I want to know you're with me. Comment type 1 if this video speaks to you. If not, type 0. When consumed regularly, these products truly overwhelm the skeletal and circulatory systems. The taste doesn't justify the health damage. Have you ever noticed that after a meal rich in fried foods, your legs felt more painful and heavier? Your body is reacting to the excess of harmful fats. These foods' lengthy digestion consumes much energy, so less is available for the muscles. This eating pattern may directly manifest in leg fatigue. Moreover, regular consumption of fried foods has been linked to weight gain, which further compounds the burden on the lower extremities. Breaking this cycle is quite challenging. Fried foods also have low nutritional density. They offer few vitamins, minerals, and proteins that actually strengthen the muscles. A diet dominated by this type of food creates an imbalance that promotes muscle mass loss. Less muscle means the legs lose stability and strength. This affects your ability to bear weight, climb stairs, or walk safely. Avoiding fried foods is one of several simple measures that can help you maintain your mobility and independence. Replacing fried foods with better cooking methods helps preserve your legs. Although its effect on the body, particularly after 60, is far from harmless, white bread is a common breakfast and snack item made from refined flour. It undergoes a process that removes most of the fiber and essential nutrients. This makes it a rapidly absorbed carbohydrate that elevates blood glucose levels. These spikes directly affect muscle health, especially in the legs, causing fatigue and weakness. Regular consumption leads to metabolic imbalance. White bread, low in fiber and high in glycemic index, also promotes insulin resistance. By lacking fiber, this impairs the entry of glucose into muscle cells, affecting the energy and strength needed for daily activities. The less energy leg muscles receive, the harder it becomes to maintain muscle firmness. This can develop into muscle mass loss, something quite common with aging. In this case, white bread stops being a neutral food and becomes a source of irritation. White bread's effects go beyond glucose. Being a food low in proteins and minerals, it offers no real support for muscle recovery. To prevent sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle, older adults need more proteins. Neglecting alternative protein sources and eating white bread daily is a mistake that depletes the body meal by meal. This could result in weak, tired, unstable legs. Besides not nourishing, white bread promotes weight gain, especially when combined with butter, cheeses, or spreads. Excess weight puts pressure on the legs, which are already naturally more fragile in later years. Pain, inflammation, and an increased risk of injury follow. White bread limits mobility rather than supporting it. Every bite might seem harmless, but the accumulation of poor eating habits is what causes the most damage. Fortunately, there are many more nutritious and better alternatives. Whole grain breads, naturally fermented or made with grains like oats, flaxseed, and rye, provide beneficial fibers and nutrients. They indirectly strengthen muscles, support digestion, and help normalize blood sugar. Combined with proteins and healthy fats such as eggs or avocado, they create balanced meals. You don't need to give up bread, simply choose better options. Still, in this presentation, you will discover the 2 worst vitamins that impair your legs. With age, especially when we consider muscle and joint health of the legs, consuming alcoholic beverages becomes even more dangerous. Beyond 60, the body becomes less efficient at metabolizing alcohol, increasing its harmful effects. Among the key consequences is the difficulty in absorbing vital minerals, including calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D. Lacking these components, the muscles weaken and the bones become brittle, increasing the likelihood of fractures and falls. Alcohol also directly inhibits muscle repair. This means that following any physical exertion, the body needs more time to restore the tissues, causing prolonged pain, fatigue, and an increased chance of injury. The drink also causes dehydration, which impairs muscle flexibility and promotes painful leg cramps. Furthermore, alcohol impairs liver function, which is connected to the production of compounds essential for tissue health. The connection between drinking and weight gain is also quite significant. Alcoholic beverages are very calorie-dense and encourage abdominal fat formation, even in moderate quantities. This extra weight strains the legs and demands more from the joints, impairing the ability to move. Adding this to the natural decrease of muscle mass with aging can have devastating effects on mobility and quality of life. Have you noticed that your body wakes up more tired and sore after a night of drinking? That's the reflection of the stress alcohol places on the muscles and joints. Regular consumption raises the body's inflammatory levels, which worsens pain and reduces the desire for physical activity. Over time, this habit significantly undermines the body's capacity to remain active and healthy. Shortly, I'm going to reveal which 2 vitamins could weaken your legs. Many people's routines include processed meats for their convenience, yet they conceal serious leg health hazards, particularly in old age. High in sodium and chemical preservatives, foods such as bacon,
ham and sausages promote chronic inflammation throughout the body. This type of inflammation affects the joints and causes ongoing pain in the leg muscles, ankles, and knees. These foods may be directly related to the stiffness people experience upon waking. Processed meats have another disadvantage: their high saturated fat content. This fat reduces muscle blood flow, raises bad cholesterol levels, and compromises circulation. Poor irrigation deprives the leg muscles of nutrition and oxygen, impairing their maintenance and regeneration. The result is a gradual weakening of the lower extremities, and eventually this decline in power limits basic daily tasks. Furthermore, these foods help accumulate toxins in the body, stressing the liver and kidneys. These organs are crucial in filtering out chemicals that, when accumulated, lead to muscle fatigue. Preservatives in processed meats have also been shown to affect glucose metabolism, reducing the muscle energy available. Once again, the effect is felt directly in the legs, as ongoing feelings of fatigue and heaviness. While elderly people often choose these items for their ease, nutritional attention should be given. Doubled exactly in this stage of life, when it comes to sacrificing quality of life, the convenience might be expensive. Choosing healthy proteins such as eggs, chicken, fish, and lean cuts of beef is a key first step in maintaining muscle strength and health. Simple substitutions make all the difference. Replace avocado or olive oil for bacon, cooked eggs for sausage, and shredded chicken breast for ham. The body begins to adapt with these changes. The legs become lighter and more alive. Between taste and freedom, between pleasure and longevity, it's a reasonable trade. Although their impact on the body, particularly after 60, is concerning, instant noodles might seem like the perfect solution for people seeking convenience. Largely composed of refined flour and chemical additives, they provide relatively little nutritional value. This quick meal is the result of a calorie-rich food low in fiber, proteins, and micronutrients, essential components for preserving muscle mass over time. This type of diet directly contributes to leg and mobility deterioration. Among the main disadvantages of instant noodles is their extremely high salt content. A single serving could give you more than half of the daily recommended intake of this mineral. Too much sodium promotes fluid retention, which makes the legs swollen and painful. Moreover, it increases blood pressure, which hinders adequate blood flow to the muscles. Poor circulation also causes muscle tissue to become undernourished, weak, and slower to recover from activity. The chemical additives in the flavoring packets that accompany the noodles are another cause for concern. Often linked to chronic inflammatory processes are preservatives, colors, and monosodium glutamate. Even when minor, these inflammations impair joint function and accelerate muscle deterioration. Eventually, this results in pain, stiffness, and mobility restrictions becoming more frequent in the daily life of those who eat this type of food. The effect on metabolism is really important as well. Lack of fibers increases the glycemic index of the noodles, which in turn raises blood sugar levels. Glycemic instability affects insulin activity, preventing muscles from effectively using energy. Muscles become weak and tired quickly when they lack efficient energy intake. A poor diet can turn a simple walk to the store into an exhausting struggle, while they conceal ingredients that seriously harm leg health, particularly in the mature period. Industrially made cakes smell like youth and taste like joy. Filled with processed sugar, hydrogenated fat, and synthetic preservatives, they disrupt metabolism and irritate the body. These items are particularly harmful. Sugar disturbs insulin function and promotes the accumulation of body fat. This not only causes overweight, but also creates a metabolic environment, bad for preserving muscle strength. The presence of trans fats, which are used to improve taste and shelf life, is another important aspect of these cakes. These fats lower good cholesterol and raise bad cholesterol, compromising blood flow. Poor blood circulation deprives the leg muscles of required nutrients and causes them to deteriorate. Over the long term, this could cause loss of lean mass, joint stiffness, and possibly mobility problems. Eating industrially made cakes regularly is also linked to persistent inflammation, one of the key causes of muscle weakness and joint pain. Emulsifiers, stabilizers, and dyes, among other ingredients, affect the immune system and cause inflammatory reactions, mainly impacting the leg joints. More pain, less mobility, and a cycle of sedentary behavior that drives muscle loss are the outcomes. Though delicious, these cakes lack high nutritional density. That is to say, while they lack essential nutrients like proteins, calcium, and magnesium, so vital for muscle and bone health, they are heavy in calories. Eating this type of food often is like trying to fuel your body with contaminated gasoline. In this situation, your muscles are the engine, and they don't respond the same way. Rather, they exhibit failures, fatigue, and slowness. Often the convenience of eating foods drives us to thoughtless decisions. Making homemade cakes using whole flours, fruits, and natural oils can be just as practical as buying a ready-made product. However, the difference is in the effect this choice will have on your body in the medium and long term. Your muscles will appreciate additional firmness, attitude, and vigor as you re-educate your palate. Though they appear convenient and tasty, ultra-processed cheeses like spreads, processed slices, and melted cheeses conceal serious risks for people wanting to maintain leg strength after 60. High in sodium and saturated fat, these foods affect the muscle and vascular systems doubly. Sodium promotes fluid retention and increases blood pressure, while saturated fat undermines the flexibility of blood vessels, thereby impairing circulation. These legs become more swollen, painful, and heavy as a result of this combination. Furthermore, ultra-processed cheeses frequently contain preservatives and phosphates, among other ingredients, that alter the mineral balance of the body. Two minerals vital for muscle contraction and bone health, calcium and magnesium, are directly affected by this incorrect absorption. The lack of these minerals causes the body to show signs of muscle fatigue, joint pain, and even nighttime cramps. Being large and much used, the leg muscles are the first to show warning signs. Another significant aspect is that these cheeses lack beneficial grade proteins. Unlike artisanal cheeses, which better preserve their nutritional profile, the ultra-processed ones undergo industrial processes that lower their nutritional density. This indicates that although you are consuming calories, the body is not getting the amino acids required to sustain muscle mass. Losing muscle is among the key causes of functional decline and dependency as one ages. Have you ever noticed that following a meal high in processed foods, the body feels heavier and less eager? This is genuine and results from the demineralizing and inflammatory action of these items over time. The absence of essential nutrients leads to bone weakness and a decline in muscle performance. Short walks take more effort than they should, and the steps that seem easy become a barrier. Everything can be connected to the type of cheese that goes on your toast. A good way to maintain health is to replace these items with fresher, less processed cheeses, such as ricotta, cottage cheese, or mozzarella cheese. And remember, we're approaching the most significant discovery of this presentation still to come: the 2 worst vitamins for your legs. 7th, though they pose a great danger to leg health after 60, industrial ice creams are among the most popular dishes on hot days or as a dessert. These items are very caloric and inflammatory, since they contain saturated fats with significant levels of refined sugar. This type of diet causes increases in blood sugar, then rapid drops that endanger muscle energy stability. This instability makes the legs weak, heavy, and more susceptible to exhaustion. Ice creams, particularly those of poor quality, contain saturated fat that harms the cardiovascular system. Oxygenated blood has trouble reaching the body's extremities, including the legs. The result is a feeling of numbness, tingling, and even ongoing cramps. Over the long term, this circulation deficit causes muscle weakening, loss of mobility, and a higher fall risk. All this time we think we are only treating ourselves. Furthermore, industrial ice creams have artificial colors, emulsifiers, and thickeners that aggravate bodily inflammation. One of the key causes of joint and muscle tissue damage is this quiet inflammation. The ongoing use of these items promotes digestive and hormonal abnormalities that directly influence the absorption of vital nutrients for muscle development. Lacking nutrition, the body cannot stay stable and strong over time. Another important factor is that these foods provide no genuine nutritional value. Rich in empty calories, they neither build muscles, repair tissues, nor nourish joints. This means that even while consuming something pleasant, the feeling of fatigue remains and could possibly get stronger. The impact on the legs is clear: less firmness, more everyday pain, and less tolerance to physical activity. Every bite robs the body of the opportunity to strengthen itself. Whether as a dessert or a pleasure in the middle of the day, milk chocolates are part of many people's routines. But their regular use can have a more serious effect than it first appears, particularly on the legs of persons over 60. High in sugar and saturated fat, these chocolates promote inflammatory mechanisms directly influencing joints and muscles. High glucose and poor fat together create metabolic overload, which promotes the decline of muscle power. Low cocoa content in milk chocolate is another issue. Free of synthetic additives, this choice offers nearly instant advantages to well-being. It's also a choice that safeguards your autonomy and quality of life as time goes on. If you think that only industrialized foods damage your legs, realize that there is yet more to be discovered. Soon we shall discuss the 2 most dangerous vitamins for muscle health. The reality of these supplements could shock you. For many people, snacks include filled cookies and processed snacks. However, after 60, their consumption can accelerate leg strength loss. These foods are real aggressors to the body, being full of artificial substances, including dyes, flavorings, preservatives, and stabilizers. They not only aggravate the body, but also stress vital organs like the liver and kidneys, directly disrupting circulation and the absorption of essential nutrients for the musculature. These items are low in minerals, proteins, and fiber, and high in calories. In other words, they provide many calories and very little nourishment. For the elderly, this is quite harmful since the body no longer retains nutrients as it did in youth. A richer, more functional diet is needed to offset the normal loss of muscle mass caused by aging. Eating foods high in sugar, hydrogenated fat, and salt only accelerates this decline. Trans fats, or the type of fat used in these products, are another significant issue. One of the key inflammatory factors in the modern diet is this type of synthetic fat. They not only clog arteries but also hinder the flow of oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to the muscles. Poor irrigation of the leg muscles results in pain, fatigue, and sometimes a feeling of unsteady legs, though gradually the fragility is imposed silently. Furthermore, too much sodium in these foods causes fluid retention, which makes lower limb edema worse. Swollen legs are obvious indicators of a problem. Poor diet mixed with compromised circulation creates just the right conditions for the development of varicose veins, chronic aches, and a feeling of heaviness while walking. All of this could come from apparently harmless snacks. These snacks and cookies also cause increases in glucose and quick drops thereafter, therefore weakening the body and creating a never-ending hunger for more food. This negative cycle decreases muscle energy and promotes weight gain. Your capacity to keep strong, healthy, and functional legs in daily life diminishes the more you rely on this type of product. Replacing with natural bars already totally changes this situation. From ready-made seasonings to instant noodles, passing through meat broths, packet soups, and numerous frozen ready meals, industrialized foods abound with monosodium glutamate. Though its effects on the human body go far beyond taste, this addition is meant to enhance the flavor of foods. For people above 60, regular intake of monosodium can be quite harmful, particularly to the leg muscles. Monosodium affects vital neurotransmitters controlling muscle contraction of the nervous system. Those more susceptible to this chemical may suffer muscle aches, headaches, tingling, and overall fatigue. When these impacts show in the legs, they produce feelings of weight, stiffness, and sometimes slight tremors. As the body becomes increasingly susceptible to excitotoxic chemicals, which harm neurons, the issue gets worse with age. Furthermore, monosodium glutamate causes persistent bodily inflammation affecting joints, muscles, and blood vessels. This inflammation compromises muscle function and circulation in the extremities. Poorly oxygenated legs raise the likelihood of muscle weakness, cramping, and mobility loss considerably. Many foods with monosodium are also somewhat high in sodium, which aggravates fluid retention and leg edema. This additive also affects energy metabolism, altering muscle glucose consumption. This lowers the efficiency of the muscle in converting energy into strength, thus compromising the legs even in basic activities like stair climbing or walking short distances. Over the long term, this diet might cause muscle mass loss and dependence on others to carry out daily tasks. Many people are unaware of their regular monosodium intake. Product labels hide it under several names, including flavor enhancer, yeast extract, hydrolyzed protein, and other technical terms that obscure its actual effect. So the goal is to choose natural seasonings, like fresh herbs, garlic, onion, lemon, and olive oil, over ultra-processed foods and artificial seasonings. Now we will expose the two worst vitamins that if taken in excess could compromise your leg strength. Vitamin A is necessary for several bodily functions, including vision, immunity, and skin integrity. But too much vitamin A, particularly from supplements, can be harmful and lead to a number of negative consequences, including on the leg muscles. Beyond 60, the body struggles more to metabolize and excrete too much of this vitamin, raising the likelihood of liver and joint accumulation. Muscle pain, particularly in the legs and back, is among the most prevalent signs of hypervitaminosis A, which comes from too much vitamin A and inflames the muscle tissues. This pain might be confused with joint or spinal difficulties. Apart from pain, evident indicators that nutritional balance has been disturbed are reports of muscle weakness, trouble climbing stairs, walking, or rising from prolonged sitting. Too much vitamin A also hinders the absorption of other vital minerals, including magnesium and calcium. Lacking these minerals, the muscles cannot contract and relax correctly, promoting the development of fatigue, spasms, and cramps in the legs. Furthermore, vitamin A accumulation in the liver could impair energy production, compromising muscle function. The result is a gradual decline in mobility and strength. Excess vitamin A has another adverse effect: bone demineralization, especially in the legs and hips. Much used in daily life, this compromises the bones and raises the likelihood of fractures in those with osteopenia or osteoporosis. The impact is far more harmful. Vitamin A supplements should thus be used only under medical guidance and always in regulated amounts. One of the key drivers of these concealed issues is self-medication, naturally occurring in foods such as liver, egg yolk, whole milk, carrot, and pumpkin. Vitamin A in a balanced diet eliminates the need for supplements. Exaggeration, particularly in enriched products or potent supplements, increases the risk. Thus, taking into account all sources, including multivitamins, total intake must be watched closely. Vitamin D is often linked to bone health and the correct immune system operation. Excess vitamin D is especially advised for the aged, but few people realize that too much of it may have serious negative effects, even on the legs. Usually from excessive supplementation, hypervitaminosis D results from an accumulation of this vitamin in the body. Muscle pain is one of the key signs of this imbalance, accompanied by weakening and motor coordination loss. Unlike other vitamins, the body slowly discards vitamin D, which is fat-soluble and thus stored in adipose tissues. Excess vitamin D can lead to higher blood calcium levels, sometimes called hypercalcemia. This results in leg stiffness, muscle burning, cramps, joint pain, and other related symptoms. Hypercalcemia directly impacts the muscles and nerves, compromising the electrical impulses directing body movements. Vitamin D can also lead to unnecessary calcification of soft tissues, including muscles and tendons. This means that places like the knees, calves, and thighs might become stiffer, less flexible, and painful under effort. What ought to be a protective chemical becomes one of wear and restriction. Elderly adults who take high amounts of vitamin D without medical supervision have a higher risk of experiencing these problems. Another troubling issue is that large doses of vitamin D can harm the kidneys, which are in charge of mineral balance in the blood. Poor filtration and substance retention show the renal effect, which aggravates leg edema, muscle pain, and a feeling of weakness. This sets off a feedback loop: more vitamin D, more calcium, less kidney function, more muscle difficulties. Vitamin D supplementation should always be tailored based on lab tests and medical advice, hence it is crucial to stress this. Many individuals believe they are good for the body, and thus consume huge amounts on their own. Excess can be just as dangerous as deficiency, and with regard to the legs, the result can be the loss of movement and independence.